Today we'll be discussing an important issue that affects the hospitality industry as a whole, food ethics. Sustainability in food, whether that be social, agricultural or economical. A topic that needs addressing by those who are most affected by the impact of reduced resources and rising prices, namely all of us here today.
Groucho Marx used to have a lovely line. He said, the most important thing in life is integrity. He said, if you can fake that, you've really got it made. And I think that's one of the questions that ethical marks is facing today. You know, they have grown so successfully. I read recently that there are now 400 marks, ethical marks across 25 different industries. That what value are they really giving? How do we know that they are truly of value? Are they genuinely showing integrity or are they faking it? In a sense, ethical marks have become a victim of their own success. They have been able to raise many issues within the public, but are they confusing the public now? Are they even confusing suppliers, the retail market, the food service industry, as to what marks are truly of value and whether we're progressing? And I think it's an opportunity for us to have a very open discussion.
We also have something called the granny test, and this is where we really challenge ourselves to say, could you explain this to your granny or someone just like her? Is it so simple that she could then tell her friends at the bridge club? And is it also so ethical that she would be proud of you when you'd finished telling her? Very challenging test. I believe that the values of a company are inspired absolutely by the mission and purpose, and therefore the identity of that company. Values absolutely inform the behaviours, and when they're authentic and shared with your consumers and customers, you form this emotional connection, which then gives you the opportunity to guide and shape the choices that your customer and consumer make. And let's make no mistake, they're looking to all of you, me, and people outside of this room for leadership and guidance. And this is a way of giving it to them, the ethical marks, absolutely. So keep it simple, make sure it's governed by your whole organisation, understand that it's a journey, and I leave you at the end of my slides, but hopefully at the beginning of your plan.
Consumers really do expect that business is making the right decisions, but my challenge that I would throw back out is, do the consumers know what bad looks like? So we keep on talking about these ethical marks that say what good looks like, but where do we actually tell them what bad looks like? So earlier on this year, I went out to visit some of our supply chain in America, and I went to visit our pig production. And I'm very pleased to say that the vast majority of the pork that we use in Pret products in the US comes from really good sourcing from businesses like Neiman Ranch. Unfortunately, in the US, only 1 in 900 pigs comes from and if there's anyone here who can correct me with that and give a better figure, please do, because I think I'm understating that for the purposes of trying to be sort of credible. Is only 1 in 900 pigs is raised in a welfare condition that would be considered anything near good. 1 in 900, so that means that 899 are coming from CAFOs, which are frankly appalling, and humans can stay inside those buildings for a very short period of time because they're so unhealthy. But the vast majority of pork that's being consumed by Americans is coming from means that humans couldn't exist in. So where's that call out? It's all well and good having a great ethical mark saying this is a great pig, but what about educating the consumer, this is what a really crap pig looks like and you shouldn't be eating this?
I believe that there is going to be a very genuine need for collaboration between labels that have apparently similar issues, partly because the costs to a business, a food service business, of sustaining a large number of labels are not sustainable. So there will have to be greater collaboration between schemes, between auditing processes, to ensure that businesses can maintain their commitment to these issues.
The reason why Fairtrade exists is that we want to try and secure a deal for farmers that gives them with a more sustainable future and helps farmers and workers in the developing world invest in their businesses today, but to retain enough for a more sustainable future tomorrow. Fairtrade currently benefits 1.4 million farmers and workers, their communities and families in 74 different countries. And a growing number of independent academic studies show that fair trade makes a significant difference in this area to the lives of workers and farmers. Recent research by the Göttingen University found that incomes for farmers on fair trade certified estates in Uganda rose by 30% when they were certified, and that fair trade certification reduced the likelihood of being poor by 50%. In recent studies in fair trade banana farms in Colombia, 96% of farmers said their economic situation had improved through certification, and an average by 34% since joining fair trade. And 100% of hired workers on these plantations said the quality of life was better under fair trade terms.
Difficult. I mean, I'm listening with interest to the panel previously, and actually I came away just thinking I'm actually more confused than what I was before. We talked about added value marks. We talked about there's some that clearly that overlap. If I'm confused, then our customers are confused. For me, there is lack of clarity in all of these marks, in what they mean, in the added value marks, and a number of the added value marks cost organisations to acquire. And which added value mark is better over another added value mark? Which mark is better than another across all aspects, whether that be animal welfare, whether it be agriculture, whether it be fish. I mean, the gentleman, absolute valid point. If you've got MSc accreditation, then why would you need another? What does that say to consumer, whoever the consumer is, whether it's a student, staff, or a public using any food and beverage operation? If you could have rows and rows of marks under your restaurant name, do they know what any of them mean? So I think we've got within the industry a real issue there.
My campaign is about trying to bring the existing labels and guidance schemes that are there into a pledge which we believe is the best way to sell sustainable fish if you're a food service business.
And how many people have you got signed up?
We have got pledgees covering more than 500 million meals a year, including 2/3 of public sector procurement, 24 universities, 4,000 schools, the sort of 3 of the top 5 contract caterers in the UK.
And just why do you think people sign up?
Because it's the right thing to do, and it's actually quite easy if you've given the right information to serve sustainable fish. And there's no excuse not to, because our fish supplies are running out.
We're very mature within the retail sector. The food service sector is quite new to us. We launched with McDonald's. McDonald's launched 100% Freedom Food pork throughout their UK and Irish restaurants. But other than that, we don't have an awful lot in food service, and it's all new. So what we're looking for is communication and traceability. We know the Freedom Food products are out there. We know that the Food for Life catering mark also highlights Freedom Food, and points are awarded at silver and gold standard. That's fantastic, but we want the communication as well. I think the Freedom Food mark has quite a small recognition, about 24% recognition. There are a lot of products out there. Some retailers have a lot of it, others don't have quite so much. We're probably better known within the food and farming industry as opposed to the consumer, hence why we are rebranding next year just for the consumer market as RSPCA assured, because it absolutely says what it does.
The food poverty report's launched today, so 14 million people are in poverty, 1 million people are relying on food banks. Are they interested in fair trade marks? Yes, actually they are. All the evidence suggests they are, but they're making decisions about other things, which is price. And we've entered into another price war. Food is going down. However, having said that, I think if you look at the hard discounters, you look at Aldi and Lidl, they've taken on fair trade. When they started in 1998, they sourced from everywhere. Now they've rebranded themselves as about good for British and Irish farmers, and they source nearly all their fresh produce from within the UK and Ireland. I mean, it's been quite an interesting one, while entering into a price war. So you can have, low prices and have some ethical standards there as well.
So the important thing for us really is getting change at farm level. So the mark is just a tool with many tools we have to help farmers improve their business, improve their environmental performance and economic performance as well. But of course, when you create a mark, a certification standard system, others can benefit from that too. So the food service sector can benefit from being involved by being able to differentiate their service offer. Retailers obviously want something out of it as well. And the important thing really for us is that it needn't cost any more money to buy a leaf mark product.
Even though we've seen the austerity, even though we've seen issues of that, nevertheless there's been an increase in demand for ethical marks on the food.
From our customer groups, and I think also given the challenges around the horse meat scandal, people are looking at a mark to help give them some confidence in the product as well, some provenance in the product.
We supply you with your cleaning products. We've got the European Union accreditation, and you shouldn't be paying any more for it. That's something that I should wear as a supplier. So I think you as the consumer can push that onto the supplier.
And I'm just wondering whether government needs to get involved in this and whether they should be driving this forward, because you know, it's a confusing arena of sustainability at the best of times, and I think we need leadership and guidance on that.
The great issue we have is over cost as well of all of these marks. You know, the costs are really stacking up now. There is pressure.
If you want a credible mark, then you need to use a credible organisation to run that mark and everything. And what we've done in Leaf is to join the ISIL Alliance, which is actually an alliance of environmental social standards, and Fairtrade is a member and a founding member, Rainforest Alliance, MSC, etc. So that's a measure of our integrity and credibility at the end of the day.
There's an awful lot of expectation on eco-labels to be very good value and cheap or even free, to demonstrate their outcomes and deliverables, to collaborate with each other to make sure they're not standing on each other's toes, to communicate with customers, to rationalise their audit processes, to guarantee sustainability and create full traceability. And you can't just rely on the eco-labels to do it. It has to come as a kind of joined process. As much as the eco-labels need to join together, businesses need to help the eco-labels, because you can't, a small organisation that's trying to run a global eco-label like the MSC, you can't expect nothing without having to pay for it. There is a cost there, and you know, I would just say the expectation on eco-labels to be everything for everybody is very difficult to reconcile, and we're on a journey to improve just as much as the eco-labels are and just as much as businesses are. And I would say don't be put off by it. You need to engage, and don't use the fact that it's confusing as a reason not to do anything, because the fish side has learnt a lot from joining together and creating one thing that a lot of people can do. And the more that we encourage that kind of progress, the more it can be easy for businesses to engage.
There does not seem to be a divide between the food service on the one hand and the marks on the other side. Yes, there are issues that need to be dealt with, the proliferation of marks, how they fit together, the education of consumers, the clear demonstration of the value of marks. But at the same time, there's a real sense that we are all actually on the same side. We are all aiming to achieve better welfare for animals, more sustainable farming, giving a fair deal to anybody who is in our supply chain. Actually, we are remarkably similar. So the arguments have really been, as they say, for the sake of heaven, in the sense of we are attempting to argue our corners, and we know that there's a price to be paid, and much of it is about where must the price be paid. But at the same time, we're all aiming to achieve the ultimate goal, which is a better food chain for everybody.